Welcome back to Eduverate Kids learning sessions. Today we are going to discuss about perhaps the most important component of preschool skill building process, and this is skill assessment of the children, that we have been put all of our efforts to bring those skills to the children. Although we have spent lots of efforts in building a fine curriculum, building an effective syllabus, but if the skill assessment is not done well, if the skill assessment is not documented well, then all of our efforts may go waste, because we do not know if our children have learned all these skills that we have scheduled for them to be learned. So today what we are going to do is that I'll bring some framework for all of the preschool stakeholders to understand how we can build a very specific and very effective skill assessment plans for our children. And definitely it is derived from the effective curriculum, syllabus, pedagogy and teaching schedule that we have already discussed and we have already built for our children to go through them. So if you have not gone through the detailed of the curriculum process, detailed of the syllabus process, detailed of the pedagogy and teaching schedule, I request please go through all the videos related to curriculum, syllabus, pedagogy, teaching schedule, so that it becomes very easy for all the teachers and parents to understand why and how the skill assessment becomes so important as a part of preschool skill building process. Now, when we are talking about skill assessment, what are the things to be assessed and why those things will be assessed? Now, if we recall back our previous discussions and the very basic things in the preschool skill development plans, we must understand that in preschool, it is the curricula which is a part of the syllabus, as well as developmental milestone. Developmental milestones are very, very critical for a child's overall development. Doesn't matter how big and how systematic syllabus things or systematic curricular things we bring into the teaching schedule, but if developmental milestones, which are considered to be the foundation of each and every child's future growth, if those are not taken into account, or if those things are not assessed properly, we miss out a great deal of skill development among kids. Even curricular things is delayed, that's fine, that can be done at any point of time in future. But if the foundation, if the very basic developmental milestones, which are the top 5 skills we have been talking about, if those things are not developed, then it will be very, very difficult for the child to cope up with the future curricular things that will be coming up in the future classes. Therefore, it is very important to assess those things. If we do not assess, we will not know if those developmental milestones have been achieved or not. Now, if those things are very clear, we must understand one thing, that when a child is coming to join a particular class, whether it's a play group, which we call pre-nursery, or it is nursery, or it is pre-KG, which consists of lower kindergarten or senior kindergarten. So whatever is the age and whatever is the class when the child is coming to join a particular skill building process for a particular class, we must understand the beginning of the program, what is desired and how much the child possesses in the beginning of the year. If that is not understood, what will happen? We may bring some of the curricular things pertaining to that particular class, but if the developmental milestones required for that particular age is not achieved by the child, then all of our efforts in terms of curricular skill building will go futile. It will not yield any result. We will be putting our efforts, but child's ability to grasp, child's ability to understand, child ability to put them into practical use will be very, very less. Therefore, it's very important to understand the skill assessment in the beginning of the year or beginning of a particular academic session that we are trying to build for the child. Then once this is done, then we are very much clear and we are coming to the monthly skill assessment. And as we have already discussed in details in our previous sessions, that curriculum, effective syllabus, pedagogy, teaching schedule, all these things will help to create a monthly skill assessment exercise. If we are not doing a every month skill assessment, some schools may say that we do a term examination, some schools they may say that we do a half yearly examination. Examination is little bit, a kind of non-acceptable term for children between 2 to 6 years because they do not know what examination is. So it is something that teachers and parents, we must understand. We have to create an assessment tool which will assess all the skills and developmental milestones that is scheduled for a child to achieve. So it is not just give a question paper and ask the child to write it because child doesn't read well, child doesn't understand what is given to them. So therefore it will be mostly 80% time it is a kind of observational assessment along with a very small exercise, small games, small activities through which we have to assess. So those things will come later, but this is something which we must do a very, very frequent interval, let's say every month, to ensure that the child's skill is built in a very, very systematic way. If, for example, a child doesn't acquire some of the desired skill, and that skill we try to assess in every month, then it becomes very easy for the teachers and parents to develop those skills in beginning of the second month rather than waiting for a 6 months or 1 year to check and develop. Because by that time age passes, then the child built on that, there is a lag already built in the child's developmental way. So it will be difficult if the assessment will not be done every month. So I request all the teachers, I request all the parents, please ensure a systematic process inbuilt or the school where your child is going. If monthly assessment is not done, please request the teachers to ensure monthly assessment is done, and these assessment results are available to the parents for their own review. That's very, very important. And finally, the end of the year assessment has to be done because a particular year in any of the academic year, we have certain objectives to achieve. If we are not doing this year-end evaluation, then it is very, very difficult for us to know whether our child is learned all these things that was scheduled or not. Sometimes some schools, they give A plus, B plus, C plus. That doesn't depict anything. If I need to understand my child in terms of what are the things that was scheduled for my child to learn and how much my child has learned, then simply A plus, A minus, B, C, D will not give you the proper answer. You must have a complete list of all the skills described in very, very simple manner, and you must know whether this skill is achieved or not. That kind of detailed assessment is definitely go a long way to define the overall skill development of our children. So then all these curricular and syllabus plans plus developmental milestones are imbibed, whether it's a beginning skill assessment, whether it's a every month skill assessment based on the weekly teaching schedule, or year-end skill assessment, doesn't matter. But all these things related to curriculum, related to syllabus, related to developmental milestone must reflect in the assessment tool for the preschool children. That's very, very important. Doesn't matter which book, what they follow. But if the teachers and schools, they miss out this assessment, they miss out a great deal of opportunity for the child which could have done in the same age on the same skill assessment platform. Now, what kind of skill assessment we are going to do? If you understand little bit of Eduvarate Kids research platform and you understand what exactly we parents and teachers are quite concerned about skill assessment or skill development, we have already discussed about 5 curricular skills, which are language communication, cognitive, social emotional skill, environmental skill, and physical or movement skill, which in other words we call it motor skills. So these are 5 curricular skills, and under each curricular skill there are 4 sub skills. That means under language and communication skill, for example, it's reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So similarly, all the 5 curricular skills, there are 4 sub skills. If you have not gone through all the 4 sub skills under 5 curricular things, I request you, please go through the curricular and syllabus videos of Eduvarate Kids to get a kind of complete knowledge about these 5 curricular skills and 4 sub skills under each curricular skill. So overall, we are getting 5 into 4, 20 sub skills which need to be evaluated, which need to be assessed. And these 20 skills are available for all the 4 classes. May it be playgroup class, which 2 to 3 years age children, nursery, which are 3 to 4 years, LKG, which are 4 to 5 years, and UKG is 5 to 6 years. For each class, we are having these 20 skills to be evaluated properly. Now, to start with the very basic one, as I said in the beginning of the year, then we have a systematic kit available, and fortunately, the international organizations like CDC, WHO, they have a proper monitoring tool available. They have come out with basic developmental milestones which are required to be achieved by the children in each age. So Eduvarate Kids has taken a lot of reference from international organizations like CDC and WHO, and based on that, it has developed a very, very fantastic tool which will be useful for many schools to adopt it. So for details, you may reach out to us. We'll help you with this kind of very basic initial skill assessment tool. Then in the beginning, when you talk to parents in the beginning of the skill or the assessment of a child, believe me, the parents' trust for the school goes fantastic. They understand this is the way the child's skill has to be developed and assessed. And the confidence on the school and the skill building process for the parents go multiple ways, and their trust also built in a very, very positive way for the schools. Now, second one, we are talking about the monthly progress. I have already discussed about the monthly progress must be assessed based on the 4 weeks teaching schedule that was already discussed in our weekly teaching schedule in our previous video. If you have not listened that, please listen that. I'm sure that's going to help you in a big way. And based on this 4 weeks teaching schedule, both developmental milestone and curricular skill components has to be assessed in each and every month. So since we preached and our research shows that monthly evaluation and monthly assessment helps a child in a big way in understanding our efforts behind child skill development and extent at which the child has understood and achieved, it's very, very important to have a very structured tool for monthly skill evaluation. And as you can see, this is Eduvarate Kids tool for monthly skill evaluation. And since we are following, and we are most of our schools whom we support, we follow a 8 months teaching schedule. So we have got total 8 assessment kits, one for each month for all the 8 months, and all the 8 months assessment kit is based on the developmental milestone based on the age of the child, plus the curricular and syllabus related stuff which are included in the syllabus as per new education policy and as per various research. that's undertaken across the globe for the skill building curricular things for the preschool children. So this is very, very important tool. And if you want to have a copy of this tool, you can definitely reach out to us. And if you are taking this program in our different platform, this tool will also be available to you as a part of the training program. Then finally, we have got an annual assessment tool, as I have already told, and I am repeating again. Since the child has spent complete 1 year for a particular class, for a particular academic session designed for that particular age, it becomes very, very important for us to know how much and what extent all the skills scheduled for that year has been achieved. So for that also, we have got a 360-degree annual assessment to ensure that the specific skills have been achieved. And details of this assessment process we'll talk separately. Maybe going further, we'll be discussing that in details. But from the perspective of skill assessment needs, this is very important to understand. At the end of this session, we must have something to be available to the parents, how much or to what extent the skills have been achieved. With this, doesn't matter what kind of curriculum is being followed or not, but assessment are very, very important. If assessments are not there and it is not transparent how the assessment is done, each and every parent has the right to know how the assessment is done. It's not like that my child is good, A+ in language skill. What does that mean? If my child is not able to understand two-step instruction, but some teachers has given A++, what does that mean? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It is only for the satisfaction that I am happy that my child has got A++. But in real sense, we must know on what basis this A++ is given. What are the criteria on which you are giving A++ to my child? All the parents, please make ensure that you understand when your child has been assessed, what are the tools, how the child is assessed, and you must be having a copy, everything at your hand for your own review, so that it becomes helpful for you to understand, yes, my child has done these things, that's why my child has got this A++. So nothing wrong in giving A++, A, B, C, D, but we must have some backup document, some background document on which this mark is given. You must be having a copy of that. Educated Kids, being a research organization, we have our complete support in creating these assessment tools for various schools and teachers, for parents as well. And if you know details about it, separate curriculum, separate syllabus, that also you can reach out to us and we'll help you in supporting in building those assessment tools. We also do additional activities based on the 20 sub-skills and related assessment components, so that it becomes a part and parcel of the school syllabus and component. So that's where we also help you in a big way. And we also involve parents in the whole process so that child gets maximum benefit. As I said, parents are the biggest stakeholders for the skill building process. If parents are not aware how the skill assessment is done, it is not a very good sign for the school just to do assessment of their own if parents are not getting involved. So we at Educated Kids ensure that parents are also involved in the whole process. So that's our forte. That's how we make sure that we help both teachers, parents and school in building the right skill for the right age. Thank you so much for your patience hearing, and I'm sure that you must have gained all the knowledge why this skill assessment is so important for the parents and teachers to understand. And if you need any further support from Educated Kids, you may reach out to us in the given email ID and number to our system and to our office, so that we'll be available to support you for building the right skill among children. Thank you so much.